Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, we're going to be talking about the inside-out forehand, why we use it, how we use it, and how we set up for it. Okay? Hold tight. So the inside-out forehand, I'm actually going to turn it over to my pro here, Coach Andrew, to explain how he sets up for it. So, Coach Goo, go for it.
So for me, how I use my inside out forehand and why I use it is because one, it helps me establish the point quicker. Two, it puts me in my weapon, so my weapon of choice, so therefore it's on my forehand side. And the biggest thing why I use it for a reason is because I can start the point right away in my favor. So let's say if I'm starting a point with a serve, let's say we're playing on the deuce side, I hit a wide serve, and the first ball I'm expecting is to be my forehand. So I usually use that ball off the gate for inside-out forehand, because whoever establishes the first inside-out forehand will always, or will have the high chance of getting the point and winning it easily. So how I set up for my inside-out forehand is, what I first automatically do is my take back. My take back has to be right away. So after that ball I hit through, I have a split step, and then afterwards you can see my take back. I have a wide base, I'm rotated, I have a hip shoulder turn, and basically what I'm doing first is creating this inside out circle, like we'll call it a semicircle. The reason why is to create more space. So number one, the take back and the hip turn. Afterwards, you have to start moving right away. So use your crossover step, never use a side shuffle step because it's less efficient. Always use a crossover step to get around quicker, and therefore at the last minute, I'm gonna step in with my left foot, and then I'm gonna start my swing to drive and transfer my weight all the way through. So one, make sure your take back is right away and your hip is turned. Two, you're making sure you're making a semicircle, creating yourself a lot more space. And three, the contact on that ball has to be in front. As you can tell on the forehand, it has to be in front, or else if it's behind you, it becomes a lot harder to bring that ball inside out, therefore you feel like you're spraying the ball. So making sure that you're getting the ball in front and then finishing to the target.
So Coach Goo,
Yes.
quick question right here. Now, what target are you looking at right now?
So the biggest target I'm looking at is I'm going for the backhand cross court, and it's the most high percentage shot. I'm not trying to think about going into the alley. That's too much. I'm actually thinking about big, how you hit a backhand cross court, like a big target. I would say if it is that side, I'm hitting it around here. Deep, it's still deep enough, and I'm just adding more top spin. Therefore, I can have time to go inside out and stay around that area if I have to. And if they pop a short ball, well, I can take one step in, take control of the court, and go inside in, and most likely have a higher chance of winning the point.
So let's pretend you're doing one right now.
Yep. So the split step is right away. I take it back, get it around, make a semicircle. I'm closing, and I finish all the way through.
Perfect. All right. So why do we use this shot, and what are the benefits of it?
Why we use this shot is most players, even from juniors to collegiate and even on the pro level, they all most likely like their forehand, right? So if we whoever establishes first the inside out forehand will have a high chance of winning the points. Why I say that is because when you're playing on any level, when one person starts to go inside out and starts hitting high and heavy to the ball, the opponent has two options to choose. One, they have to say, all right, you know what, I have to hit this backhand and make him play. Or two, I try to have to somehow win position and get that inside out forehand. But majority of the time, if someone hits a great inside out forehand to their backhand, they're all gonna hit backhands. So therefore they're in trouble. They're most likely gonna be on the back foot. They're gonna have to learn how to deal with that throughout the match.
So this is basically an offensive move, right?
Basically, yes, it is.
Okay. So it's an
a great
aggressive offensive move.
It's a great offensive strategy to implement right off the bat.
Got
and
it.
get yourself. Let's say if I love my forehand, this is a great way to make sure I'm using my forehand effectively.
Right.
Right.
Coach Chris, when do you use it on tour?
So what Coach Gu was saying, when you're playing an opponent on the tour, their weakness is coming from their backhand. And one of my strengths is using my forehand too as well. So as soon as possible, I like to establish the rally using my forehand a lot. So I'd go inside out, try to hurt my opponent with their backhand. And once they produce a short enough ball, then I can change inside in and stay on top of the rally. Even if he does get it back, I still have I'm still up on him because I'm using kind of my weapon to my advantage to hurt my opponent. So that's when I would use the inside out forehand too as well.
Is there a specific type of opponent you would use it to, or would you just kind of be the aggressor first and then see what happens?
So it really depends on your game style. For me, I would be looking to use my forehand as much as possible. So, and then also kind of does depend on your opponent. If you play a little bit and after a few more points, or even in the warm up, you can kind of see what he brings to the table. So looking at his weaknesses and his strengths too as well, and that way you can formulate a plan. And for the most part, though, my game identity, I use my forehand quite a bit to create, and then my backhand is a little bit more to defend. That's what I encounter when I'm playing on the tour.
All right, so Coach Gu's got a drill for you. Coach, explain this drill that you got.
So this drill focuses our inside out, our first movement off the gate, just making sure that we have our take back right away. Make sure you're doing a semicircle. If it's a little deeper, you want to make sure that semicircle is more pronounced. If the ball is shorter, you want to make sure you're cutting off diagonally. And lastly, you want to make sure you're hitting this ball in front of you. So what we have out here, we're using this water bottle, as you can tell, as a cone. Basically behind this drill, there's also a good tip, is where's the limit? Where do we draw the line when we hit our backhand, or where we hit our inside out forehand? So when I always try to eyeball it, I go from like the middle line on the baseline and go out all the way until probably around here. I would say about
60% mark.
60% to 65
70%.
or even 70% more of the court, and that should be all my inside out forehand. So the drill behind this is your coach or a person or a friend of yours will toss the ball high or low, and your goal is to make sure you see it, split, the takebacks right away, you get around, make a semicircle. Afterwards, tossing that ball through, shifting that way forward, going around the watermelon / cone, and doing it again. So I recommend you maybe do 6 to 8 balls for one set. I would suggest to do 3 sets of these. But just get used to the inside out, first the take back and the sets. Then afterwards, quickly move your feet using the crossover or the crossover step. You get there quickly, and then shift your legs out, and then contact the ball forward, going all the way through.
So we just did that really cool drill with Coach Gu and Coach Chris. Try that out. It's actually really simple. Get your muscle memory down and practice the shot. Make sure you hit it in front of you. Coach Gu, any final words?
I would say just have fun with it. it'll take a long, like, this is like a long process, so don't feel like you're not getting it right away. It takes years and years to practice this. Trust me, it takes a while. So just make sure you're doing the right footwork, making sure you're trying to create a lot of space as much as you can. Your take back is early, and make sure, like Harry said, get the ball out in front and you'll be fine.
All right. Coach Chris?
The final words is yeah, it's all about footwork for this case. So really make sure that you fight for the right positioning after every ball, because any like slight mishap, you're going to time it wrong. So that's probably my word of advice for someone who's trying to practice the inside out forehand.
Right. So just have fun with it, guys. Everybody's favorite shot is the forehand, so you might as well practice this part and this angle of your forehand, your best shot. All right. So I want to thank Coach Gu for being with me today. Where can we find you, Gu?
You can find me at agu.tennis. I'll also be posting that content there.
All right. Coach Chris, where can we find you?
At Christopher Chien, Chien.
All right. So thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.